Whilst the Straw Hats are having an adventure on Egghead Island, the Heart Pirates are locked in a deathmatch against the Blackbeard Pirates in a battle which is yet to be decided. Law and his crew have had a surprising show of force against the Blackbeard Pirates, but it looks like the battle is reaching the only possible outcome: Law's eventual defeat at the hands of Blackbeard, which has left many fans wondering about Law's potential fate. Is this where the Surgeon of Death meets his end? No. Whilst the possibility of Law's death is not off the table just yet, I find it unlikely. Law has just revealed his true goal of uncovering the truth about the D initial and the will of D. Law is also the only person capable of using the Eternal Life Surgery, which we have not seen yet in the story. Law still has more to contribute to the story, so I don't think this is it for him just yet. The Heart Pirates cannot defeat the Blackbeard Pirates, but they don't have to, because Law is about to be helped by seemingly the most unlikely of allies. If this doesn't make sense yet, don't worry, it will soon enough. In this video, I will explain why Aokiji may be the one to save Law from Blackbeard, and how these events will affect the story in the future. So I'm not the first person to bring up this theory. I believe another YouTuber, Randy Troy, really brought this theory to the forefront. A lot has happened in the story since then, and I think it's time to revisit it. Whilst some people may not want to entertain this theory, there is simply too much evidence to brush it aside. For some of you, this is your first time hearing this theory, so let's get into it. Law's benefactor, Corazon, the man he respects the most, was a Marine agent working against his brother Doflamingo. Corazon had a reputation for being violent towards the children of the Doflamingo family, but it was later revealed that he did this in an attempt to scare them away from working with Doflamingo. Corazon never wanted Law to become a pirate, and when you think about it, it does not make sense why Law would become a pirate. Corazon, a Marine, gave Law a second chance at life, and took him off the path of becoming another Doflamingo. Whilst in contrast, Doflamingo, a pirate, took the very person he cared about away from him. Sword is actually perfect for Law, considering they are Marines secretly working against the world government. Whilst the world government will work with pirates and tyrants like Kaido and Orochi, Sword stands against them. While CP0 will blindly carry out the Gorosei's orders, Sword stands against them. Sword represents what the Marines were always supposed to be. They are actually fighting for justice and not blindly following the world government's orders. Law would make an excellent Marine, considering that by the age of 12, he already had extensive training in martial arts, marksmanship, and swordsmanship through his time with the Doflamingo family. He also had the very rare Opi Opi no Mi and experience in the medical field. He would be wasted as an ordinary foot soldier. He would not need to go through the same training process as someone like Kobe, who started with no experience. He would likely be handpicked as a candidate for Sword from the very beginning. We have seen the CP9 members being trained since childhood for the sole purpose of joining CP9 and carrying out the world government's orders. Sword may be similar. There was a lot of time in between Corazon's death and Law's introduction at Sabaody. We don't know where he has been or what he's been doing for the last decade. Law even has an interesting relationship with two known members of Sword, X-Drake and Kobe. Law and X-Drake's interaction at Sabaody suggests that they knew each other prior to that meeting. X-Drake is also the one who released Law from his confinement in Wano, for seemingly no reason. Any other Marine would let a notorious pirate rot in prison, not orchestrate his escape. There is definitely something going on here. When X-Drake found out that Law had been captured, he was very angry, with Hawkins even saying that he was acting strangely. After X-Drake did release him, Law said that he would go along with X-Drake's plot. X-Drake was already plotting against Kaido, but Law seemed to already know this. The majority of the world believes that X-Drake was a former Rear Admiral who defected from the Marines, when in actuality he never left the Marines, and has been undercover as a captain of Sword for over 2 years. There had to be some fabricated story to make the world believe that X-Drake left the Marines, to make it more believable that he would become a pirate. Law could be in the same boat. He is called the Surgeon of Death, a moniker that does not fit Law at all, considering that Law has stated that he is a doctor and does not kill people. Then we get to Law's connection to Kobe and the Rocky Port incident, the single event that made Law a member of the 7 Warlords. The way Law's ability works, it is safe to say that all of the pirates whose hearts were stolen during the Rocky Port incident are all alive. Otherwise, there would be no point in giving them to the Marines. So once again, Surgeon of Death does not fit Law. Kobe does not want to take credit for his role in the Rocky Port incident, and whilst it may be because he is humble, it could also be because he knew the whole event was orchestrated to insert Law into the 7 Warlords. If you are still not convinced, then let me put this into perspective. Law was given a position as a warlord due to the Rocky Port incident involving Kobe. As a warlord, he was able to freely travel across the New World without the Marines chasing him. He used his access to go to Punk Hazard, where he captured Caesar Clown and destroyed the SAD room. He then created a plan to destroy the Smile Factory in Dressrosa, which put an end to Kaido's Smile Fruits. Whilst he does have a personal grudge against Doflamingo, everything he has done has been ultimately aimed at Kaido, the same man that X-Drake has been undercover surveilling for the past 2 years. Kobe helps Law into the Warlords, X-Drake monitored Kaido's organization from the inside, and Law executes the plan to defeat Kaido. It all fits too well. As a quote-unquote pirate, Law was able to ally himself with Luffy, which resulted in the defeat of Doflamingo and Kaido. Along the way, he was able to get poneglyph rubbings and learn the location of Pluton. All of this was only possible because the world believes that Law is a pirate. I also want people to keep in mind that someone like Virgo has been embedded in the Marines for over a decade, while still being a pirate. From the time Law was 10 all the way up to Punk Hazard, Virgo has been an insurgent working for Doflamingo. Virgo was on a mission so secret that only Doflamingo's top executives knew that Virgo was undercover. The opposite may be true for Law, with very few Sword members knowing that he is undercover. So how does Aokiji fit into all of this? Although it is not confirmed that he is a member of Sword, it is very likely that he is, given that we have already seen another Sword member infiltrate a pirate crew. Ever since we learned that Aokiji was working with the Blackbeard pirates, it was never a question of if he would betray them, but when. After Aokiji saved Smoker, he told Smoker, "I am still me," meaning that he is still one of the good guys. He is still a Marine who firmly stands on the side of justice, with Doflamingo commenting on the look in his eyes being that of a determined man. Smoker asked Aokiji how he knew he was on Punk Hazard, and whilst Aokiji told him it may have been fate, it is more likely that Aokiji was told by another Marine. Aokiji was never going to help Blackbeard forever. He would have attempted to thwart his plans at some point, and now is the perfect time. Blackbeard's crew with the help of Aokiji have ransacked Whole Cake Island, and I believe they most likely got Big Mom's poneglyph rubbing as well. If Blackbeard steals the poneglyph rubbings from Law, and he has Pudding captive, he would only need one more poneglyph rubbing to find the One Piece, which would tie him with Luffy. I mentioned in my video about Dr. Vegapunk that the Egghead arc parallels Punk Hazard, and it does. From the Straw Hats almost getting eaten by a large fish, the crazy weather surrounding the island, the large laboratory with a world-renowned scientist in it, the return of the Punk Hazard kids and even the Marines as well. I bring up all of that to draw your attention to the end of the arc. At the end of the Punk Hazard arc, Doflamingo was going to silence Smoker for knowing too much about his business, but he was unable to due to Aokiji's intervention. Aokiji appeared to save a Marine from a pirate, and he will do it again. This time he will appear at the beginning of the Egghead arc to save Law from Blackbeard. This won't be like Aokiji's confrontation with Doflamingo, however. This time Aokiji will have to stand and fight Blackbeard to allow the Heart Pirates time to escape. As powerful as Aokiji is, I don't like his chances against Blackbeard. Aokiji has already lost a leg and uses his Devil Fruit to replace it, and he would be going up against a man who nullifies Devil Fruit abilities. On top of that, Aokiji has stated that he cannot freeze a Quake Man during his skirmish with Whitebeard 2 years prior. This means that Aokiji's greatest weapon, his Devil Fruit, would be useless against Blackbeard's Darkness and Quake Fruit. Although Aokiji may have impressive Haki, his fighting style is completely based around his Devil Fruit, which would be next to useless in a fight against Blackbeard. Oda has already shown Blackbeard being unable to steal Hancock's Devil Fruit and even running away from Rayleigh. If Blackbeard is also unable to acquire the poneglyph rubbings from Law, he would look very incompetent as a villain. Blackbeard would need to do something that re-solidifies him as a threat, and defeating a former Navy Admiral will do just that. When you really think about it, Aokiji is perfect for this very scenario. We have already seen his ability being used to freeze over large bodies of water, Marineford being a great example. He would be able to provide cover for the Heart Pirates to escape Blackbeard and his crew. He would also be able to freeze over the hole on Law's submarine, the one thing preventing them from submerging. Aokiji has been undercover within the Blackbeard crew for some time now, and I believe it has all led to this moment. So if you made it this far in the video and you still don't buy this possibility, let's look at the alternatives. Law defeating Blackbeard is very unlikely considering he is not the main character. Blackbeard could just kill Law and be done with it, but again I find that unlikely since Law has more to offer to the story. Law has the knowledge of Pluton's location, and his knowledge of it has to be important at some point, otherwise there is no point in him knowing it. Blackbeard could capture Law, but that would not make any sense. Blackbeard wants to rob Law of his poneglyph rubbings, and has no use for him as a hostage. Law has also been captured more times than Princess Peach at this point. Don't believe me? Here he is on Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, and Wano. I don't think Oda would have Law captured for the 4th time. Law's Devil Fruit requires medical knowledge to use, and Blackbeard's only doctor has a Devil Fruit already, so Blackbeard would not be able to use Law's fruit effectively. Law's only chance is to escape, and with Aokiji covering him, it is very possible. I know people are going to ask, if Law and Aokiji are both Sword members, then what is their true goal? The answer to that is quite simple. It is the same goal as every pirate sailing the sea, to find the One Piece. Obviously not to become king of the pirates, but to prevent the war that Whitebeard predicted with his dying breaths. The Marines and the world government have been monitoring pirates from the inside for quite some time now, with Stussy of CP0 being a member of the underworld, and monitoring Big Mom, X-Drake monitoring Kaido's operations, and Aokiji monitoring Blackbeard's actions. Finding the One Piece is not just the goal of pirates, but even the Marines, so it would make sense why Law would collect poneglyph rubbings, even if his true goal is not to become king of the pirates. So after all I have said, how does this all go down? Of course this is all speculation. Blackbeard will defeat Law, steal his poneglyph rubbings, and before he lands the killing blow, Law will use a phrase that only his Sword members would recognize. Once Aokiji hears the distress phrase, he will know that Law is also a member of Sword and turn on Blackbeard. helping Law to escape from Blackbeard like I mentioned earlier. We have seen Sword members using phrases to communicate. Before X-Drake and Kobe spoke, they used the phrase sea fog before continuing their conversation. There are likely many more codes and phrases used by Sword members to communicate. I also want people to keep in mind that even if Law and Aokiji were both members of Sword, that would not mean that they both joined at the same time. X-Drake and Law could have been members long before the time skip, whilst Kobe and Aokiji may have joined during the time skip, so there would be a good chance that even Aokiji may not know that Law is undercover, or vice versa. So that about wraps up this video. Let me know what you guys think. How do you think this will all unfold? Will Law escape the situation, or is this it for him? Are Law and Aokiji members of Sword, or are these just coincidences? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or a dislike if you didn't. And consider subscribing for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.